Okay, so my New Year wishes to you all, and then I think you all may be knowing about me, so I don't want to give an introduction about myself. So, so today we are going to see the introduction of. So today is the day where we are going to start our journey towards our lectures. Okay, so before we get into the subject, so few aspects you all should know regarding this subject. So this subject is not like a technology subject which you will just practice and you can reproduce. Okay, at the same time, this subject is not a theory oriented subject. You read some content and then you reproduce. Okay, so this is basically a subject which you should understand. Okay, so basically we will be more dealing about the process, and there will be more discussion rather than teaching lectures. Okay, so this is purely software engineering. This the entire stream comes only based on the experiences of so many people who were in the domain, and based on their opinions or suggestions, the whole sector has been developed. Okay, so the entire subject or the curriculum has been defined purely based on the experience of the people and based on the requirements of the industry. Okay, so this is the one thing you should understand before going into the subject. Okay, and also most of the contents whatever we speak in this subject are going to be a familiarized topic. So you may be familiar in that topic, or maybe you will have a 50% knowledge of all the keywords whatever we say in with respect to this curriculum. Okay, this is because you are used to the technology but you don't know how the technology works. Okay, so in connection to the example, okay, so you have so many subjects. Okay, irrespective of maybe you have compiler design. Okay, so whether really we require compiler design, because we all know how to make use of the compiler. Okay, so do we really need, or do we really require to know how an compiler works? Okay, so in other words, I will tell you a practical example. So we all know how to drive a car, right? We buy a car, we know how to drive a car, and we are using it, right? So we don't care about what kind of piston. So how many of you know the piston size of the car which you have? We don't know. Really, we don't know, right? So and also we don't care about it. So do we know the size of a flying shaft inside an engine? No, we don't know. So how many amps battery our car is powered with? We don't know. But we buy a car and we will use the car. Okay, so this is what we do, right? So similarly, so this is a subject where we will be dealing more about. So if you follow these kinds of strategies, so probably you can deliver the best product. Okay, so that is the overall idea about this subject. We will be talking more about some explanations regarding definitions, some real world examples, more real world examples. That is actually the correct word. More real world examples we will see, and we will see if you follow this, this will happen. If not, what will happen? That if not, we will see in detail. Okay, so this is the overall idea about this course, and we have some metrics. Okay, so all these metrics maybe we will see only in the second half of the subject. So till that, so we will discuss more about the use cases and some old and very old definitions. Okay, so still wherever you go, irrespective of the university, when you say software engineering, the same book, the same authors, the same topics, still people are using it, because as I told you, this is actually built based on experience. Okay, so with that note, so let me go into the session. So before I start, yes, any doubts? So one thing, students, so if you have a doubt, so I don't have a screen to see whether you are raising your hand or not. So please feel free to unmute yourself and stop me right there. Okay, so please feel free. You have 100% freedom to unmute yourself and not to mute me. Okay. So with that note, so let us get into the subject. Let's hope that we will complete this subject with all success. Okay. Fine. So as you can see in this picture, so what is the meaning of life? So even when you ask anyone, like any guru or whomever it may be, So they are literally depending on computers in recent days, right? So wherever you see and whatever you see, everything is getting automated. When you use the word automated or automation, obviously there's going to be a script or a program. Okay, so that's going to run behind, which in other words we will call it as a software. Okay, so you cannot simply call a program to be a software, but software is a program. Okay, it is made up of a program. Fine. So with that, so let us go into the subject. So first thing, nature of a software. So software is both a product and a vehicle that delivers a product. So anyone, so everybody knows that software is a product, right? So everybody knows that. So even you use iTunes or Wink or whatever it is, it's a software, it's a product. Fine, everybody agrees with that. But what it is a vehicle that delivers a product? Can you tell me? Can anyone explain me that statement?
Sir, maybe it's like a form which could lead to several other sub projects or sub products. Like you could derive something out of that one thing.
Okay. Okay. Any other answers?
So maybe we can create more softwares like what Ritvik told, more softwares from a given software, something like ID. ID itself is a software. Now we can use it to
Yeah.
develop some other softwares. So something like that.
Yes, exactly. So that is actually the statement here. So when you say if you are building, for example, if you are building a car, okay, assume that you are going to build a car. So what you will require? You will require a raw material, right? So the raw material may be different aspects. It may be it may be a steel, it may be some plastics, it may be some glasses. Okay, you require a raw material and you will structure the raw material using some tools and you will build a car. Okay, at the same time, when you say you are going to build an application or a software, so what is the raw material here? So all the components, right? So all the components, whatever you use inside this medium are actually from a software. Okay, so that's the reason. So as you rightly mentioned, IDE is a software. Okay, first you have to build the IDE. Once the IDE is ready, it is giving you a freedom to use libraries, or it is provisioning you to create multiple softwares using that software. Okay, so that is the main point here. So all the software, it's not about all the softwares, but most of the softwares. Okay, in other words, you can say, so literally we can have a comparison. So when you write the same program in Java using an IDE and without IDE, so both work same, right? Both will give you the same output. But what is the flexibility you are getting when you are writing straight away with the programs? So you have to write multiple files. You have to physically maintain the files. If there is an update or a patch, so only you can do it. Okay, so nobody other than the person who wrote that code can never add any patch to that particular application. That is a huge problem with that model. Okay, so for that, what you are doing, you are building an IDE that itself is an software. And when you say that you create any projects through Eclipse or maybe through NetBeans, it is easy for someone to edit some of the sections or maybe some files or even providing a patches or removing some component of your program. Okay, so those flexibilities we are getting, but as I already told you, so this drive is made only because of the requirement from the developer side or maybe from the production environment. Okay, so software delivers the most important product of our time. So that is information. So initially in olden days, the reason behind going for an automation or a software was, so as you have seen, okay, so most of you might have used Excel sheets. So the same thing can be even stored in a just a table, right? You can just in a paper you can write a row, you can have some rows and some columns where you will enter data, right? Why should I go for a database? So that is the first question. So why should I go for a database? Any volunteers? So forget about the database. Why should I have a table? So
Sir, it is easy to access and retrieve data from the table. Like in having information is different and using the information is different. I can have the information, but then if to use it more effectively, I need to have a proper structuring in the information. For that, we need database or table, whatever.
Okay.
Organizing the information.
Okay, so organizing the information, the both are valid points. Okay, so before so what happens was, so when you say a table, okay, a table is full of cells, right? I believe everybody will accept that claim. So let us assume that there is a 10 cross 10 table. Okay, so you have some 100 cells. So how you are going to structure that 100 cell so that you say there is some organization that resides between all these cells? How you are saying that? So for that, you are making use of relational concepts, right? You are relating it, saying that so each row is going to represent something and each column is going to represent something, so that you are forming a relation among all the 10 cross 10 cells. Yes? You agree with me?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you are literally relating all the contents so that you form a relation between these data and you say it to be a relational database or something. Okay, so the same table concept. So in the same thing can be written in a paper also, right? The same row, same column can be written in a paper also. So what makes the difference? So in both the sheets, you have the information. Okay, so at the same time, now if I say that you sort the entire table based on one specific parameter, I am saying that alphabetically you sort the table. Okay, so at that time, when you have it in a paper, it may take some around 1 hour or 1.5 hours to reproduce the content in a sorted order. Okay, so when you make the same information, okay, so the information is not different. Okay, so the same information in a different form. Fine. So that is the main advantage of a software, and that is the main reason why this paradigm shift started. Okay, so basically even now we see that there is a huge space for data analytics and other stuffs. Okay, so that is actually the born place of all your software needs. Okay, so how we can intercept the informations and how we can easily store and retrieve the data so that we can make some inferences. Okay, so that is a place where it started. And information transfer, so producing, managing, acquiring, modifying, displaying, or transmitting information. So all these things you all may be knowing it, so I don't want to go in deeper to that concepts. So role of computer software undergone significant changes over years, yet there are problems. So this is a statement which will never end. Okay, it is like an NP complete problem which will never end. But as you can see, so in olden days, when I'm not sure how many of you have seen the systems that runs with Windows 98. Okay, I have personally seen that. So even in MS-DOS also I have worked in. Okay, so the thing was, so at the time also we had the machine. So we had a monitor, we had a keyboard, we had a mouse. So I'm not sure how many of you have really seen the mouse with a real mouse ball. Okay, I'm not sure how many of you might have seen that, but I have played in that mouse balls actually. Okay, so from that stage till date, okay, so as you can see, there is only one keyboard, there is a mouse, no problem, there is a monitor. Okay, so all these things reside same, but what happens inside these machines, okay, irrespective of the hardware upgradations, so what runs inside this machine have seen very drastic changes over time, right? So initially when you say Windows 98, there was no scope for any add-on on the UI part. Okay, all you will see is a very old box, a rectangular box. Even the corners were in the very sharp cut corners. Okay, so that is the GUI. So at the time, there was no importance given to the GUI. Instead, the importance were given to the computation. Because as I told you, so that paradigm shift happened only to automate stuffs and to reduce the workload for the humanity. Okay, so at the time there was no preference towards the GUI part and all. But now you can see, so nobody cares about the computation part. So everybody wants a very good high-end look and feel environment. Windows 10 or maybe even in your Mac, you see the GUI should be very, the graphics should be very high. I need a 4K display. I want to extend my display with 2, 3, 4K displays, right? We all have the we have a tendency to do all these aspects, right? So yeah, so that is about the computer evaluation based on evolution based on the user requirements. Okay, so even then we have so many problems still prevails in the market, right? We say, okay, when you say Windows 10, are we saturated? No, there may be some addition coming back, right? Similarly in Mac, when you say I'm okay, I am very much satisfied with the Mac OS operating system, you please stop all the production of any operating system in future. Do we say that? We will never say that statement and we will never come to a conclusion. It is a never ending process. Okay. So this is $1 billion question. So why does it takes so long to get software finished? So I think you all may be knowing this better than me, because when you have started developing an application, so probably you may have a deadline, or you may think in a vertical that probably I will complete this software maybe in 10 days. Okay, so when you fix that timeline, it will never end in 10 days. Okay, so the same thing. When you want to buy a software from a person, okay, so what happens? One minute. Yes, I think my account has been hacked, so I'm receiving so many OTPs. Okay, fine. Okay, so why development costs are so high? So you can see, you can imagine, I'm not sure how many of you have seen the real budgeting scheme of a software. Okay, when you see a budgeting software, so probably we will, so initially, so first we have to form a layout of, so what are all the components that are going to be developed. Okay, so that is first step. Once the design document is ready, so they will first you will have your requirements. After the requirements, you will have your design. Okay, so in the design phase, you will have, so these are all the components which needs to be constructed, and these are all the resources that we may require. Okay, so based on that component level design, so what they will do, they will give a approximate budget. Okay, so by considering the number of persons, okay, so the number of resources that are going to work in that specific project, or maybe in the specific component. Okay, so per hour basis. So if you take a senior developer, we have to pay per hour some $18. If you take a fresher per hour, we have to pay some around $12. Okay, so like that per hour basis, we will bring an estimate. Okay, and that's the reason, as I told you, when you invoke a senior developer or maybe a fresher guys, okay, so per hour, I'm telling you, so per hour, if it is $10, so you just imagine, so what may be per hour cost itself will comes around 700 rupees, or maybe 1000 rupees. Okay, assume that way. So like this, so we have to estimate the whole project. So whole project in the sense, it may take some around, even a small application, when you develop a small Android application, so you can see in the market, when you want to sell that application, it can be sold for around 1 lakh or 1.5 lakhs. Okay, so that is a place where you can really see. So the cost is very high when it compared to the other hardware requirements. You can, for example, so when you want to develop a software, so your quotation may be something around some 10 lakhs or maybe 20 lakhs. Okay, at the same time, when it comes to a chip fabrication, so what you will spend? You will spend for the raw materials, right? You will spend for some 2-3 guys who can fabricate the device, and you will produce that device. Okay, so irrespective of what it is, you will so all you will spend is only for the raw materials which you purchase and the human power, manpower. Okay, so but in the software, so you cannot see literally you cannot see the raw material here. So that is one problem. At the same time, So you have a defined shape. Okay, so you can have a clear-cut idea about how this chip fabrication is going on. At the same time, in a software building, so you don't have any track of whether we are going in a right path or not. Right? So that is one problem. So this is the very big gap between these two processes, and to fulfill this gap, okay, so to bridge these two gaps, we have this software engineering process. Okay, so that is the reason we will follow this process. Maybe in detail we will discuss in the upcoming slides. Okay, fine. So why errors are not found before delivering to the customers? So even in Flipkart or anywhere you see there are some bugs. Okay, so there are always there will be some bugs. So you may ask a question. So why can't they address all these bugs before releasing it to the customer? Okay, so that is also a $1 million question. It is highly impossible. Once if the bug is found, probably they will address. Okay, so they cannot. There is no system with 100% bug free. Even if you write a simple program, a simple C program, that will have a bug. Okay, so you will see. So this is an expected output. Okay, so if I say you have to print, let us take a case. Okay, so you have to take input of some 10 numbers. Okay, so I'm telling you, so input for your application which you are going to build is going to be 10 numbers. Okay, and it should produce me a sum of these 10 numbers multiplied by some 2.5. Okay, so assume this is the use case for us. So when you write a program for this use case, so you will write maybe in a 10 or 12, 20 lines, you will say, sir, it is 100% false proof. I have written a code. If you provide 10 numbers, then you will get the output which you want. Okay, so assume that in the place of the first number, I am giving an 100 digit. Okay, your program will automatically fail. Right? So that is the problem. So similar to this problem. So this is one just simple case I'm telling you. Okay, so it may fail or it will fail because of the restriction with the language which you have chosen. Okay, so how to do that? So you will write an if for some statement. You will say so only this system can accommodate only this many digits of this many numbers. Okay, so like that you will say. So like this the process will develop. Okay, so only when it comes to the production environment, we will come to know about the results. As I told you, I have given you write a program to add 10 numbers. Okay, and you have to multiply that number with 2.5 and you have to show me the output. At that time, you may not be aware of I am going to give 100 digits in the first number itself. Okay, so only during the production environment, you will understand that this idiot will type some 100 digits in one number itself. Okay, so immediately what you will say, okay, fine, I can understand your intelligence. So I will do something in my program and I will give it to you back. Okay, so that is what we will say it as a patch. Okay, some bugs will be reported and that bugs will be taken care by the developers or maybe the team of maintenance team, and then the complaint will be resolved. Okay, and that's the reason nobody can deliver any product with 100% assurance. Okay, so keep this statement in your mind always. This will be true even in 2040 or maybe in 2060. Okay, so why much effort spent on software maintenance? So software maintenance, so as you can see, I'm not sure how many of you may be aware of this statement. So whichever software you buy or you use, okay, so they will incur some maintenance charges. Okay, so probably for home usage or a personal usage, so maybe the softwares like Windows or maybe your office, so they may not charge you for maintenance. But when it comes to the enterprise level, so all the softwares will have a maintenance charges. Okay, so they will say it is in AMC, annual maintenance charges. So you have to pay it like a subscription. So all the software maintenance packages needs to be updated. Okay, so one specific concern towards this software maintenance was, as I told you, so bugs will be reported only during the production time. So people will start using the application. At that time, they will find some bugs. Okay, so for example, assume that I'm saying that, okay, I will develop a software for you. You pay me some 10 lakhs. Okay, so that fellow paid me 10 lakhs and I have sold the software also. I have worked for around 1 year to complete that project, and the project is delivered. Okay. So in the production, he will have so many bugs reported. At that time, I cannot resolve all these bugs for the 10 lakhs which he has paid me, right? Because I will rule out of the business. So what I will say, either you take away the product, don't come back. If you want to come back, you pay me the maintenance charges for this particular software. I'm ready to involve some people from my team. They will address your bugs, provided that you have to pay me money. It is not covered in the 10 lakhs which you have paid me before. Okay, so that is the stand we will always follow in the software industry. Fine. So difficulty in measuring process as software being developed and maintained. So as I told you already, so when you have a company which is going to fabricate chips, okay, let us assume that you have a company that is going to fabricate RAM chips. Okay, so you can see, so once you purchase your raw material, okay, so the raw materials are ready. Okay, after that phase, probably you will create the capacitors or the resistors that are required. Okay, so that is also prepared. Okay, you will have a PCB board development team. Okay, so they have made the PCB also. So now all these things are ready. So now only integration is pending. So all these progress you can see, right? But when it comes to the software, so the high level, you can see the design. Okay, in a high level, for example, you can see, okay, the one module, maybe it is 30% completed. It is in a very high level. You are not sure whether the completed 30% is right or wrong. Okay, so that always happens. You will create an entire component and you will claim that, so whatever is represented in the requirement, I have done this. Okay, that may not be the case. In the other side, you can literally see, okay, so now the capacitor and resistor is ready. So only integration is pending. But here you will develop something, but nobody knows whether you are going in the right direction or in the wrong direction, right? Only when we test, we will come to know, okay, are we doing the product right? So especially when it comes to the software industry, so you will always have a question, are we proceeding in the right direction? Okay, so until the client approves it, you will always have that doubt. So whether are we producing the content which the client has requested? Okay, so it is not about your understanding of the document. It is about the satisfaction of the client whom you are working for. Okay, so these concerns lead to the adoption of best software engineering practices. So as I told you, so there is a huge gap between these two models. Okay, so always when you say, okay, so you have paid me 10 lakhs and I have given you a product. So if you have any bugs, I will not entertain your bugs, or you have to again pay me 10 lakhs. If I say that way, so nobody will be interested to do a software business, right? The business model is very poor in that case. So based on the experiences of all these peoples, okay, so they felt, okay, there should be a structured way to address all these concerns. These concerns are really useless, and these concerns are really very hectic. You cannot solve. For example, assume that a company has paid some 10 lakhs for a product. Okay, so in the first review of that product is done in 6 months. In the 6th month, they are providing a component level design. For example, so it is like a pharma application. Okay, assume that we are going to build a pharma application. Okay, so a person needs a pharma application and he has paid you some 10 lakhs. Okay, and in the after 6 months, you are giving him a presentation where you are saying that, so these are all the components we have completed. For example, we have completed the cart component, so you can add medicine to the cart. Okay, fine. And then you are saying, so you can search the medicines in the repository. Okay, fine, it looks good. You can immediately find the medicine you have searched for in one click. Okay, it looks very good. Okay, all these things are fine. After 6 months, okay, so you are telling that, so all these things are now ready, but there is one problem. So I cannot integrate any database with this component. Okay, so it is not working with any databases. If the database is connected in a proper way, probably you can search. If I tell you that statement, will that person be happy? So I have shown him, I have written a search functionality and I have shown him, okay, so you can add products to the cart. Okay, so all these things I have told him and he is happy at that time. Now I am telling him, so all these functionalities are ready, but we have one problem that all these components cannot be connected with the database. So we don't know what to do. So you take this product and you have someone to connect database with all these functionalities. If I say that way, okay, so what happens? So with this junk, I cannot do anything, right? So once if the database is connected, all these functionalities is work. Fine. At the same time, this developer only will know what are all the functionalities he have written, in what way he has written. Okay, so all these things are these are very hectic concerns that lead to the adoption of a best software engineering practices. Okay, so now, so defining a software. So what is a software? When you ask the question, okay, so we have traveled a long way. So in these days, we have so many definitions for software. Okay, so nobody will say software is a program. Okay, they will not stop. Okay, we have so many definitions. Many definitions are there, but they are not measurably understanding, right? So you cannot have a quantified statement for software. Hence, the characteristics of software are examined. So based on the, okay, so many people have given so many definitions. So in general, so what are all the characteristics they are pointing out? Okay, so based on that, maybe we can derive a definition for a software. Okay, so it is logical rather than a physical element. So whenever you say, I'm going to build an algorithm. Okay, so when you say an algorithm, okay, you give me your algorithm in my hand. If I ask you, then I may be the first idiot in 2020, right? Maybe in 21. If I ask you, you produce your algorithm and you give it in my hand. Okay, I want to touch the algorithm or I want to rub the algorithm. If I say, so you will really mock at me, right? So it happens. It is purely when you say it is a software, it is logical rather than a physical element. Software does not wear out when compared with the hardware, which wear out as a function of time. So there is a figure which I will show you. Okay, so software doesn't wear out. So this statement is true. Okay, provided that. So we are not discussing about the compatibilities here. Okay, so we are discussing only about the software. So when you write a program, for example, let us assume that you have written a program, a C program, which will work in GCC 2.6 version. Okay, maybe after 60 years also, if you have a compiler with the GCC 2.6 version, you run the code, it will work. Okay, so that is true. So this is what we refer to as software doesn't wear out. But it is not the case. Probably you buy maybe you buy a bike. Okay, let us assume that you are buying a bike in some company like Kawasaki. Okay, so you purchased a bike or maybe in a BMW. Okay, so assume that you have purchased a premium bike and you have not drove that bike for around some 30-40 years. After that, for 30 years or 40 years, when you feed some fuel and if you try to start the bike, it may not start. There is no guarantee that the bike will start. Probably the battery or the wiring connections may have worn out. Okay, so all these are the physical factors, but that is not at all applicable for our softwares. Okay, but sir, it does. Yes, please.
Sir, you told that software is a logical element, no, sir. So comparing it with a physical feature like wearing out is not really correct, no, sir, because software might wear out in terms of logic. Like if we take the example of sorting, like simple software for sorting, initially maybe selection sort was the best logical way to implement sorting, but then later we came up with a merge sort or heap sort. In that case, logically also the software is wearing out, no, sir, if we see in that sense, like logical sense.
Okay, so as I told you, right, so it is like you just don't think about what is inside it. Okay, so the logic, let us assume it is a black box. Okay, don't care about what is written inside, whether it's a merge sort or whatever it is. Okay, so you just think it as a black box. In the black box, if you put the input, you will get the output, sorted output, right? So that program will run even in 20 or in 3021 also. Right? You agree with me? So that is why we say this program will never worn out. At the same time, so as I told you, so that was a good question. Okay, so why should I compare the component which is physically present and why should with the logical component? Okay, so only bridging factor between these two things is the money. Okay, so a person is going to purchase something in a logical way. You got my point? So these analysis is done by the person who is going to spend money. Okay, so to whom you are going to say, I am not going to give you something in your hand. Instead, it is going to reside in somewhere inside a machine. Did I answer you, Vishnu?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's
Understood.
yeah, that is the reason. So these comparisons were made. For example, as I told you, a person comes to me and he is asking me, you develop a you develop a study table and give me. So I will create a study table or I will build a study table and I will give him in his hand. He will carry the table and he will keep it in his house. Okay, the same person comes to me and he is asking me to develop an application. Okay, and I am telling him the application for developing this application, I will require some 10 lakhs or 20 lakhs. Okay, so that person, the person whom has requested me to build that application, has no idea about what is the raw material, who is going to work, what you are going to deliver him. So that is the main aspect here. You understand the point? So, but he has to give money to you, right? So that is the reason all these comparisons were made. Fine.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, so this is the bathtub. So as you can see, there is nothing much to infer from this graph. You can see that there is a burnout. That's all. Okay. So spare parts are available for hardwares, but not for software. So this is always applicable. Okay. So assume that. Okay. So as, we will come back to the bike example. So now I have purchased a Royal Enfield. Let us assume that I have purchased. I didn't purchase it, just for assumption at least. Okay, so let us assume that we are buying a Royal Enfield bike. Okay, so maybe around some 2 lakhs. So once we purchase the bike, do we really stop after the purchase? No. So immediately after purchasing the bike, we will search for a rider jacket, right? So it may cost some around some 50,000, sorry, some 5,000 or something. And then we will search for a very good helmet. And then we will search for so many components, right? So these are add-ons. Okay, so these are not at all spare parts. These are add-ons. Okay, so we will try to purchase more and more and more add-ons. So even this is applicable for your mobile also. First you will buy a mobile and then you will buy a cover. You may not like that cover. You will buy a scratch card. You may not like it and then you will buy something. Okay, so like this you will buy lot more. Okay, so this is one aspect. Okay, so are we running out of time? How long we have?
10 more minutes.
10 minutes.
Okay, fine. Okay, so these are all called add-ons. Okay, so when it comes to the spare parts, for example, as I told you, so you have a bike. Okay, that bike, maybe in some movies you might have seen. Okay, so there may be some hero who will be always working in a garage where there will be a very old Royal Enfield will be there, or maybe a very old Cantasa or some car will be there. They will make something and they will bring the car from the out of that garage. Okay, so for those cars we may not have a spare parts. Okay, especially you have to create or you have to build a spare part for those very old models. Okay, so even though we can now we can say that there are some very old vintage cars, but there is no spare parts available for those cars. Okay, so this is applicable. But when you say it is a software, there is no need for any spare parts. Once if the program is running, okay, fine. All you require is only a compiler, right? So that's all. When you have a compiler, this program will work. If you don't have the compiler, this program will not work. So the compiler is like a fuel. It is not a spare part. Okay, so in your bike, the fuel is petrol, but for your application here, the fuel is your compiler. Okay, so this is the main difference. You don't have any concept of spare parts. So now coming back to the add-ons, as I told you, if you purchase a bike, so you can easily integrate add-ons. Okay, so you can buy a rider jacket, no problem at all. But when you purchase a product like a software, if you want to purchase an add-on, okay, so what you have to do? Either you have to depend on the person who has developed the product, or you should buy an add-on which can be integrated with this particular product. Okay, so that is very, very important. Okay, so if I buy a rider jacket, I can use that rider jacket for any bike. Okay, it is not like only for RE I can use. Similarly, that is not the case with your software. If you want to buy an add-on for the software that is constructed by, let us assume that Vishnu has developed a software. Okay, Vishnu, I have to either buy add-on from Vishnu, or I have to buy an add-on that can be integrated with the product that is developed by Vishnu. Okay, so that's why I have given you add-on also in this time. Maybe we will see that in detail. Okay, so this is one important strategy. Okay, so as you can see, so idealized curve is a gross over simplification of actual failure models of a software. So as you can see, the failure rate. Okay, so the failure rate should actually go down in the idealized curve. So when you start using your application, the failure rate, the amount of failure rate should drastically go down. Okay, so but in the reality, what happens? You can see that when you after the production environment, right? So once you see that there is a change, okay, so that is the place where you will bring in a change. Once if you bring in a change to the application which you have developed in the production environment, again there will be multiple failures. Okay, so this is like you add one functionality to a software. If it is not properly accommodated with, or it is not properly integrated with the existing software, it will throw a bug. Okay, so you can see this particular thing in beta version of all the softwares. Okay, so even in your Firefox, if you go with nightly build, you can literally visualize these things. Whenever there is a new patch available in the beta version, so they will have lot of bugs. Okay, so that is the main aspect that is provided here. If you have in the production environment, okay, that is why you have a stable release and a beta version. Okay, always you can see in most of application, beta version will be available for free because you are going to be the rat there. Okay, so developers are going to test their application with you, and that's the reason they are providing it for free. Similarly, the stable versions will be paid one. So the stable version, in the sense, as you can see, it is approaching near the idealized curve. Okay, so that is the main aspect towards this particular thing. Okay, software maintenance tasks are more complex than an hardware maintenance. So this is true fact. So assume that I have purchased a server for some around 12 lakhs. Okay, and my server is residing in a room. Fine. So at that time, so for maintaining that server, probably nothing is required. Just one to ACs, okay, a coolant, an environment which can provide less than 24 or 23 degrees Celsius. That is more than sufficient, provided that 24/7 power should be there. Okay, so that is the only constraint for maintaining that hardware. But when it comes to software, as I told you, if something happens, so there should be someone who knows to address that issue should be there. Because as I told you, I purchased a server. I don't know anything about that server. I have purchased the server. It is in my cabin. And there is a prerequisite that says that, okay, you keep this will work fine. Okay, I kept that and it is working completely smooth and fine. But this side, I purchased a software. Okay. And the person said this software will work seamlessly for you. Don't worry. Okay, fine. So now it crashed. So what should I do? I don't know what to do with that. Right. So software maintenance tasks are really more complex. And that is the reason, as I mentioned earlier, so always most of the applications, whichever you deliver, even after delivery, they will give a contract of, from the date of delivery, 1 year, we will give a free maintenance or maybe free updates, or they will say 2 to 3 patches we will provide it for free. After that, we will charge you. Okay, so that is happening in that sector. So now software application domains. So in general, so these are all the broader classification of software application developments. So it may be a system software, it may be an application software, it may be an engineering or a scientific software like MATLAB. It may be an embedded software. So embedded softwares are the softwares, right, which you are literally doing it today using Raspberry Pi or anything else, right? So that is embedded software, like whatever you see in the microcontrollers, like washing machines, or in the IFB microwaves. Okay, so all these things are embedded softwares. So product line softwares, web and mobile applications, so artificial intelligence software. So all these softwares you all may be knowing, okay, right? So all these things are the broader classifications where you can literally see the softwares. Okay, so when we say a software, so here we take the web application also under consideration with the word mobile and web applications. Okay, so this is the broader classification of the places where we can see about the softwares. So there is one more division called legacy software. So I think when you have worked in the BIOS, you might have seen this terminology, legacy. So what is legacy? So legacy refers to olden programs. Okay, so very old programs, or maybe in other words, you can say the programs are no longer supported. Okay, so I think that is a good definition for that. So the legacy softwares are the programs that are no longer can be accommodated in the upcoming versions. Okay, so please don't develop anything for by keeping this software in mind. So that is the statement here. Okay, so hundreds of thousands of programs are there in the software application domains listed. So most programs are older. So how many of you are still using Winamp for playing musics? Any blind guess? So how many are you really using Winamp for playing musics? Yes. No one.
So never heard of that, sir.
Really? Winamp.
I used this when I was a small kid.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, sir.
Okay. So you see, okay, so that was one of the most popular music player for us. Okay, so I mean in our age group. Okay, so you have your music files, and these music files can be played using Winamp. Okay, so you can see there. So even that is a stable version. So even in your machines that will work fine. Okay, so but as I told you, so now it is in the verge of a legacy software. Okay, so even though it's the best application in the market some days around, but people are not ready to use that application in recent days. The problem is, better than that application we have so many. You understand my point? Okay, so those softwares. So this is one single example. So even though Winamp is not a legacy software right now, okay, so but I'm saying you. So like this, we have some old softwares which may still run, but people may not use it because they have the advanced version of all these players. Okay, so that is called as the legacy softwares. Referred to as legacy software and have been the focus of continuous attention and concerns since 1960s. These are literally old, very old programs. Okay. So probably I think we can stop here, right? So are we on time? It's time, right?
Yes, sir. Yes,
So
sir.
shall we stop here then?